Thank you very much, Professor Nowak. Thank you very much for inviting me, for having me here today with you. Dear Professor Seebeck, dear Professor Radon, dear Professor Putz, we've met several times during our working lives, also in different positions when I was still doing very different things, but we didn't always agree, as you might remember, in the past. Dear Professor Pohl and Professor Nowak, dear partners of the Center for International Health, and dear participants, I am indeed very happy to be with you here today, coming from Bonn, from our central office, from the German Academic Exchange Service, where my responsibility for the time being is all the programs that we do together with the Federal Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development. I'm head of the division in German, Behördendeutsch. It's a German word that it's not easily translated. For development cooperation and alumni programs. But in the past, I was responsible for the starting phase of the program under which the Center for International Health is funded by DAAD. The last time I was actually here with you in Munich at this university was in 2009, in the end of 2009, after the Center for International Health was selected as one of the 5 programs funded for 5 years as part of the EXCEED initiative of the Ministry for Economic Cooperation and Development for the official inauguration of the center. At that time, also a colleague of the ministry was with us. I've spoken to the colleagues from the ministry, and Professor Radon has had contacts as well. Unfortunately, they are not able to come, but they are very happy to see the progress that the center is making. Now, this is one of the oldest, largest, and also in research terms, leading universities in Germany. And still, I would like to make a few points with regards to development cooperation. Development and development cooperation needs higher education. Nelson Mandela is known for a quote that he supposedly said in one of his speeches, that education is the most powerful weapon we can use to change the world. For a long time, this has not really been a major focus of German development cooperation. Especially higher education has not been a major focus. The Federal Ministry has developed a new strategy for education to make education a priority area of official German development cooperation and assistance that was launched at the beginning of this year and developed over a very long process in the last years, and has also pledged to increase funding for projects and initiatives in education, including higher education. That is also something new. Traditionally, the focus in education when it came to development assistance was in basic and primary education. The same, I could say, for the occasion today is also true for this particular sub-aspect of medicine or health issues. Traditionally, when we work with, and most of the projects that we fund of German universities with their partners in developing or transition countries are focusing on tropical diseases, the 3 big tropical diseases, and also most of the international funding goes into initiatives on these issues. So when we did the selection for the projects to be funded under the EXCEED program, one of the aspects that was considered to be particularly innovative about the project submitted by the Ludwig-Maximilians University was that it tried to merge different activities in the Faculty of Medicine, not only, but also focusing on the traditional tropical diseases, but also focusing on issues such as occupational health, which is one of the neglected areas in health issues in development assistance. The program that we work with, EXCEED, Higher Education Excellence in Development Cooperation, has the objective to bundle and foster the existing initiatives of German universities with their network of partners around the globe. The aim is to build up competencies for both research, education, and development, and to educate specialists who can then plan and implement projects by themselves and consequently develop measures for the improvement of the safety of their working conditions in this particular sub-context. So I would say this is actually an excellent example of what we were trying to do when we started this whole, for our standards, large program. I know that for in medical terms and medical research terms, the funding that we provide is not a very large one, but for DAAD standards, this is a fairly large project. We are trying, and I think CIH has been very successful in doing so, to integrate teaching, research, and consulting and the practical implementation of research and education topics related to the Millennium Development Goals with German universities, within the universities, but also with their network of partners. And the ultimate goal, as Professor Radan has already mentioned, is to empower the partner universities and the partner institutions and the participants in the developing countries to set their own higher education, research, but also health agendas, and to tackle their own problems with local solutions. Since 2009, many activities in the CIH have been successfully implemented, also in other regions of the world, in English at that point, sometimes also a little bit in Vietnamese, as far as I've heard from the colleagues here. And I think that what is particularly also in terms of educational issues, this is a very German context we're talking now. What is very innovative is that the Ludwig-Maximilian University actually is one of the first universities offering a master program in Spanish language. It's the first one in this university, but it's also one of very, very, very few programs being offered in Germany in Spanish language. I think this is highly innovative and very needed if you want to work with Latin America. Spanish is still the language. English is getting better, especially among younger people, but it is still the language that you need to also when you do your research on the ground, when you want to talk to workers, to local people, working in English, doing research in English is almost impossible in many countries. So 3 years on, from 2009 to now, this is now one of the fruitful results of successful cooperation between the Ludwig-Maximilian University and the partner institutions in Latin America. The idea that we've had to strengthen both North-South but also South-South collaboration in these projects is very visible and in this room. And taking into consideration this great result, it is already a great success for the Center for International Health at the Ludwig-Maximilian University and can be considered in our German terms as a sort of little academic revolution that this has been possible and that this has also been supported both by the university but also by the Bavarian Ministry. This is not always the case in other parts of Germany and in other universities. So congratulations on behalf of the AAD and also on behalf of the Ministry to all involved partners and especially to Professor Radan. Thank you for your strong and year-long and very active commitment in supporting and putting the idea of this master ahead and into practice. I can assure you that we will we will continue to support you and to accompany you, and we will try to also make the support longer term so that for maybe in some points we might also be able to provide scholarships for those who cannot afford to pay fees and stuff like that. So this is our traditional mission, and I can assure you that this is something that we will look into and that we will also look forward to discuss with you further. I wish to all of you a nice remaining evening and a successful summer school for those who stay on. Thank you.